Crossing through the outer disciples of Yunlan Sect, Tianming starts binding, Enhancement System. Xuanjie Intermediate Fighting Skills. Enhancement. Xuanjie Advanced Fighting Skills. Xuanjie Advanced Technique. Enhancement. Earth Level Lower Technique. 3rd Grade Pill. Strengthening. 4th Grade Pill. Yunyun. Tianming, please don't strengthen anymore. Keywords of the novel. Dou Po. I can enhance all things without pop-ups, Dou Po. I can enhance all things. Download the complete text, Dou Po. I can enhance all things. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Outer Disciples of Yunlan Sect, new book begins, seeking support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Outer Disciples of Yunlan Sect, new book begins, seeking support, Doji Chi. A section. Looking at the dim font flickering on the Duki test monument, the boy's face showed an unusually excited smile. Surrounding children of the same age cast envious gazes. They are all orphans brought back by Yunlan Sect from outside. Only by cultivating a period of fighting spirit within a month can they be left behind and become outer disciples of Yunlan Sect. Those who cannot pass the assessment will be sent back wherever they come from. The white-robed old man in charge of the test scanned the group of children in front of him with indifferent eyes, and in a slightly hoarse voice, there was no sadness or joy. Group 13, passed. Thank you, Elder Yunfan. The boy bowed to the old man. Yunfan glanced at the boy with a slight surprise. If he remembered correctly, the little boy in front of him was picked up from the beggars in the Imperial capital. As for the reason, it is purely due to eye contact. The boy has delicate facial features, even his dirty face cannot conceal his lively and dusty temperament. He stands out among a group of beggars and stands out from the crowd. It has been proven that no matter in which world, a person's first impression is based on their face. Go to the outer hall to register your information. Yunfan casually dismissed the boy without paying special attention. After all, in these years, he has brought back the orphans of Yunlan Sect from outside. There are not even 1,000, there are 800. But this is not for charity, but to select qualified children for the sect to cultivate into disciples. The vast majority of orphans were expelled from the sect as they failed the first round of qualification assessment. Yunlan Sect, do not raise idle people. Name, age. Puyi, the external gatekeeper of Yunlan Sect, registered the list with a brush in hand. Sir, the younger generation's nickname is Tianming. I am 6 years old and do not have a surname. On the boy's childish face, a hint of shrewdness flashed through his eyes. Duki continent, most people with names and surnames are born into a certain family. Ordinary people with flat heads do not have their own surname. For example, Little Dr. Immortal, Green Scales, and so on. As for why the boy knows about Little Dr. Immortal and Green Scales, the answer is simple. He is a traveler. Let's not mention all the things in our past lives. In summary, when he woke up one day, he crossed the continent of Duki and became an unnamed beggar boy. The elder of Yunlan Sect, who passed by, picked it up casually. To be honest, anyone who has read the original novel knows that Yunlan Sect is not a good place. The male protagonist Xiao Yan was the first villainous force to be destroyed in the early stage. However, unfortunately, he did not cross over to become a child of a big family, and as a beggar at the beginning, he had no choice at all. I can only passively come to Yunlan Sect. Facing the first assessment, one should cultivate a period of fighting spirit within a month. A beggar's background naturally lacks good bloodline, and his cultivation talent cannot be said to be mediocre. He is simply useless, and after a month, he can only feel extremely weak fighting spirit, not even reaching a level. Just as he was extremely anxious, last night he finally awakened his golden finger as a traveler. The system. Strengthening the system. This system can enhance everything in the world, including fighting spirit, fighting skills, martial arts, pills, weapons, and so on. The level of reinforcement will be determined based on the host's own level. The male protagonist first strengthened his weak fighting spirit, and finally reached a period of fighting spirit within the 1-month deadline. Successfully passed the external disciple assessment of Yunlan Sect. Don't you have a surname? It happens to have the same surname as the sect, so let's call it Tianming. From today on, you will be my outer disciple of Yunlan Sect. Guyi said expressionlessly. For the sect, orphans without a family background are better and can be trained to become the most loyal disciples. When necessary, even if we sacrifice them, we will willingly die for Yunlan Sect. Thank you very much, sir. Young man Tianming, willing to die for the sect. The boy deliberately put on a look of gratitude. In fact, he, who possesses adult thinking, has long seen the tricks of Yunlanzong in manipulating people's hearts. In his past life, although he was also a commoner with a flat head, he was also a free person with a name and surname. The reason for concealing one's surname today is to gain the trust of Yunlanzong. Although he is only an outsider disciple of Yunlan Sect now, he is purely a consumable existence. But as long as he shows his talent in the future and becomes a formal disciple without a family background, it is easier for him to enter the high level of the Yunlan Sect. For example, the current patriarch Yunyun was also an orphan adopted by the old patriarch Yunshan. The elders of Yunlan Sect are all of the same surname Yun. A person with an outsider like Guyi is probably from a moderate family in the Gama Empire, and at best he can only serve as an outsider deacon, making it difficult for him to enter the core of the Yunlan Sect. Work hard and strive to become an official disciple of Yunlan Sect in the future. Life will become sweeter and sweeter. Guyi was very satisfied with the boy's loyalty in front of him and skillfully drew a big cake for him. Sweet. Yun Tianming nodded innocently, his eyes lit up. Division line, 4 years later. In the yam field behind Yunlan Sect, a 10-year-old boy is sitting on the dirt ground, with emerald green fighting spirit in his hands, carefully nurturing the medicinal seedlings. Under normal circumstances, the growth cycle of the lowest level medicinal herbs can take at least 3 to 5 months, while the growth cycle of higher level medicinal herbs takes even longer. Therefore, a dedicated person is needed to cultivate medicinal herbs. The outer disciples of Yunlan Sect, in addition to daily cultivation, actually have more time to undertake the miscellaneous work of the sect. Yun Tianming was detected to have a wooden attribute of fighting spirit, so he was assigned to cultivate a medicinal field in the back mountain. It's done. This blue spirit grass. Looking at the vibrant light blue spirit grass in front of him, Yun Tianming's face showed a joyful smile. Wood attribute Duki not only has the effect of warming and nourishing medicinal herbs, but also can shorten the growth cycle of medicinal herbs. Although this is a difficult task, for Yun Tianming, he can also cultivate fighting spirit during the process of cultivating medicinal herbs. It is precisely during these 4 years of hard work that he has gone from practicing the qi of 1 stage of struggle to practicing the qi of 5 stages of struggle. Not enough, compared to Xiaoyan, who is 10 years old and possesses a 9-stage fighting aura. My cultivation speed is as slow as a turtle crawling. Yun Tianming's eyebrows furrowed slightly, and a strong sense of crisis arose in his heart. By inquiring about the news, he found out that he was on the same timeline as Xiaoyan. That is to say, when Xiaoyan destroyed Yunlan Sect, as a disciple of Yunlan Sect, he was inevitably implicated. To become stronger, one must find a way to obtain more cultivation resources. A brilliant light flashed in Yun Tianming's eyes. Danyao is undoubtedly the best item to improve cultivation speed. As a lowly external disciple, in order to obtain elixirs, one needs to make certain contributions to the sect. For example, in the medicinal field where Yun Tianming is located, as long as high-quality medicinal herbs are cultivated, they can receive rewards from the sect. However, this is clearly not an easy task. Firstly, the medicinal seedlings themselves are not easy to feed and require long-term use of wood attribute qi to warm them up. For most young and impatient external disciples, it is simply unbearable. Tianming has no such issues at all. In his past life, he had experienced the baptism of the college entrance examination, postgraduate entrance examination, and civil service examination, and had already developed a strong and tenacious will. Therefore, he is often able to stay in the medicine field for a whole day. Thanks to Tianming's careful care, the survival rate of the seedlings in the medicine field he manages is as high as 75%. During the same period, when external disciples were managing the medicinal field, the average survival rate of the seedlings was only about 30%, while those below 25% not only received no rewards, but also received punishment from the sect. Washing a thatched cottage can be considered light, but in severe cases, it will be directly abolished and expelled from the sect with fighting spirit. So now, let's start. Tianming held a blue spirit grass in his hand and opened the system interface. Ding, discovered 1.1 quality blue spirit grass, using reinforcement can improve to 1.4 quality. Is it reinforced? Strengthen. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Strengthening Medicinal Materials. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Strengthening Medicinal Materials. Strengthen. A mysterious force emerged from Tianming's hand, covering the blue spirit grass. I saw the branches and leaves of blue spirit grass growing rapidly at a visible speed to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, they grew up in a circle, and the color changed from light blue to deep blue. The sturdy branches and leaves emitted a strong medicinal fragrance. Strengthening successful. 1.1 quality blue spirit grass, upgraded to 1.4 quality. According to the system's calculation, 1 quality is a medicinal herb that can be used to refine a single pill if it passes the standard. Tianming put down the blue spirit grass in his hand and then picked up a condensing fruit. The appearance of this condensation fruit is obviously much worse. Not only is the color mottled and the skin dry, but the smell is also strange. The prompts on the system also prove this point. Ding, found 0.7 quality condensate fruit, using reinforcement can improve to 1.1 quality. Do you want to use it? As a medicinal herb for refining medicine, a quality of 0.7 is definitely not qualified. Strengthen. Tianming decisively used system enhancement, and once again a mysterious power appeared in his hand, covering the condensation fruit. I saw that the originally mottled color quickly became crystal clear and transparent, and the fruit skin became full and warm, with a hint of fresh fruity aroma. Strengthening successful. 0.7 quality condensate fruit, upgraded to 1.1 quality. The quality of the condensed gas fruit, which has been strengthened by the system, has reached the standard that can be used for refining medicine. Strengthen. Strengthening successful. 0.9 quality red mushroom, upgraded to 1.2 quality. Strengthen. Strengthening successful. 1.2 quality 5-leaf flowers, upgraded to 1.5 quality. Strengthening successful. 1.3 quality wind chime grass, upgraded to 1.6 quality. Strengthening successful. 1.4 quality Wugan beard, upgraded to 1.7 quality. After some operation, Tianming successfully cultivated 18 qualified medicinal herbs. Select medicinal herbs with a quality of 1.5 or higher and keep them, while the remaining 12 qualified medicinal herbs are ready to be handed over. Put the high-quality medicinal herbs that have been intercepted into a wooden box, and then bury them in a hidden compartment under the bedroom bed. There is no way, as he comes from a humble background with no family background, he has to slowly accumulate all his cultivation resources on his own. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed, and Tianming noticed someone approaching the back mountain. He immediately returned to the medicinal field, using his wooden fighting spirit to skillfully warm up the medicinal seedlings. In no time, a middle-aged man dressed in a moonlight white robe arrived at the edge of the medicine field. Tianming pretended not to know and squatted in the medicine field, fully focused on his work. After watching for a while, the middle-aged man couldn't help but let out a light cough as a reminder. "Ah, so it's Mr. Gu. Please forgive me for being foolish, kid." Tianming pretended to be startled and quickly saluted the other person by lifting his head. The newcomer was Guyi, the external deacon of the Yunlan Sect. On the white robe of the moon, there was a silver light moon painted with a golden star, symbolizing the identity of a one-star master. Guyi's gaze swept around, and a smile appeared on his face as various medicinal herbs grew vigorously in the field. "Well done, it's Dawn." Although he is not an alchemist, with years of procurement experience, he can roughly judge the quality of medicinal materials based on their appearance. It is obvious that the medicine field managed by this kid in front of him is the best among all the disciples from outside. Where, all of this is due to Mr. Ge's purchase of high-quality medicinal seedlings. The kid just did a little farming work. Tianming smiled slightly and attributed all the credit to the other party. "Hee, you kid can talk." Guyi felt strange in his heart. When he was purchasing, he took some bribes and deliberately chose a reputable supplier from the Imperial capital. Can it be said that this supplier has a great conscience and has provided Yunlan with the highest quality medicinal seedlings? After all, he is not a professional alchemist, and Guyi is not very familiar with medicinal materials. Anyway, he is only responsible for purchasing medicinal seedlings and handing them over to external disciples of the sect to take care of. As for the quality of the cultivated medicinal herbs, it is also the responsibility of external disciples. Without any accidents, most of the medicinal herbs submitted by external disciples were of average quality and received a harsh scolding from the sect's alchemists, followed by severe punishment afterwards. Many external disciples were even expelled from Yunlan Sect due to their repeated failed submissions of medicinal herbs, and their fighting spirit was abolished. Only Tianming in front of him not only has a high survival rate of the medicinal seedlings he has taken care of, but also cultivates medicinal herbs of medium to high quality, receiving unanimous praise from the sect's alchemists. Guyi's eyes flickered slightly, as if pondering some idea. Tianming keenly noticed the change in the other person's expression, and after a moment of reflection, he understood what other bad ideas the other person had and decided to take the initiative. "I am very ashamed that this time the boy only cultivated 9 qualified medicinal herbs. Please have Mr. Gu inspect it." Tianming showed a look of shame. Guyi glanced at the 12 formed medicinal herbs. "I thought to myself, this kid has a very agile mind. You don't need to imply it yourself." Guyi calmly collected 3 medicinal herbs into the personal collection ring in his left sleeve, and then collected the other 9 medicinal herbs into the sect collection ring in his right sleeve. "Tianming, you are very smart. I am very optimistic about you." Guyi patted his shoulder with satisfaction on his face, without any suspicion that he was secretly hiding medicinal herbs. Because the quantity of qualified medicinal herbs cultivated by Tianming is already the highest among all external disciples, there is no room for private storage. When leaving, Guyi threw a ring to Tianming. "Ding! Discovered a low-level storage ring that can hold 1 cubic meter of space. After using reinforcement, it can be increased to 5 cubic meters. What a stingy Nima. You gave me the cheapest ring after receiving so many medicinal herbs from me." Tianming was filled with resentment in his heart, but on the surface, he had to pretend to be flattered. "Thank you very much for Mr. Ge's reward." Guyi nodded satisfactorily and said, "Next month's sect meeting, I will recommend you to participate." Before leaving, he didn't forget to add the familiar sentence. "Work hard, the days will become sweeter." "Sweet." Tianming answered proficiently, his eyes shining. After watching Guyi leave, Tianming calmly returned to the medicinal field and unleashed his would-attribute fighting spirit. 1 hour later, 2 hours later, Guyi's figure emerged from a shadow in the back mountain, staring intently at Tianming, who was still working hard on the medicine field, and shook his head expressionlessly. It seems that the old man is being careless. This kid's method of cultivating medicinal herbs is nothing special. The medicinal herbs cultivated by Tianming are on average several levels higher than the outer disciples of the same period, which once made Guyi doubt whether the other party had a special secret method for cultivating medicinal herbs. However, after multiple covert observations, it turned out that he was overthinking. Speaking of which, how much scheming can a 10-year-old boy have? Guyi smiled lightly and shook his head. 3 hours later Guyi couldn't see anything special and quietly left the back mountain. Have you finally left? This annoying old pussy. Tianming stopped using Duki to warm up the medicinal herbs and reached out to wipe the sweat off his forehead. Guyi, who played the role of a dragon in the early stages of the original novel, can bring immense pressure to Tianming in reality. After all, a one-star fighter is truly terrifying when it comes to the chi of the 5-section fighting. Fortunately, my soul power is strong, otherwise even if there is a system, I would still be exposed. The soul realm is divided into mortal realm, spiritual realm, heavenly realm, and imperial realm, and each level can be further subdivided into early, middle, late, and great fullness. As a traveler, Tianming may have merged the souls of 2 generations, and his soul power is naturally powerful. According to the system's detection, Tianming's soul realm is currently in the middle stage of the mortal realm. That's why he can perceive Guyi from a long distance. Soul power is equally important to cultivators as their fighting spirit level, and in a sense, the soul realm is even more important than their fighting spirit level. Not to mention anything else, the most noble profession in Duki continent is the alchemist. Soul power is a necessary condition to become an excellent alchemist. Unlike fighting spirit, one can level up by practicing fighting skills and taking pills. The soul realm is generally difficult to improve, and soul skills that can exercise the soul only exist in a very small number of superpowers such as ancient races. So, let's give it a try today too. Tianming placed his palm on his forehead. Strengthen. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Sect Assembly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Sect Assembly. Strengthen. The mysterious power from the system flows into the brain and rushes straight to the soul. Tianming's whole body trembled violently, feeling like something very comfortable and exciting. My soul is trembling. In short, it can only be understood and not expressed in words. However, this wonderful feeling did not last long and there were signs of subsequent fatigue. Tianming felt dizzy, as if 10,000 needles had pierced his head, causing him to have a splitting headache. Ah! Tianming couldn't help but let out a painful roar in the end. This pain from the depths of the soul goes far beyond physical perception. At the same time, a prompt sound came from the system. Strengthening failed, detected the host's body, unable to withstand excessive soul power. Strengthening will cause the soul to detach from the body. Sure enough, did it still fail? On his pale face, covered in sweat, Tianming forcefully pinched the center of his eyebrows, feeling the intense fluctuations of soul power inside his body gradually easing. He is not trying to strengthen his soul power for the first time. Repeated failures made him realize that the system is not omnipotent. Just like a baby, equipping him with a divine artifact cannot fully unleash its true power. Similarly, at present, the body of a 10-year-old child named Tianming, with only 5 levels of Duki cultivation, cannot bear the soul power above the middle stage of the mortal realm. However, as long as my physical strength is increased to a certain level, my soul power can be enhanced and elevated to the later stage of the mortal realm, right? Tianming did not lose heart. As long as there is a system in hand, even if he comes from a humble background, he can become a strong player on the Duki continent in the future. With confidence in his future and a firm belief in becoming stronger, Tianming enthusiastically began practicing martial arts. As an external disciple of Yunlan Sect, I was originally only able to enter the first level of Yunlan Sect's Duji Pavilion, where the collected Duji were all low-level yellow rank goods, so there was nothing to say. Due to his meritorious cultivation of medicinal herbs, Tianming was allowed to enter the second level of Yunlan Sect's martial arts pavilion under the operation of Guyi. He selected a wooden martial arts book called Yellow Level Intermediate Martial Arts. Grass and Wood Palm. The principle of fighting skill is simple, which is to absorb the essence of vegetation and attach it to the palm of the hand. The fighting spirit of the wood attribute is not very destructive, so the attack power of this grass and wood palm is naturally very scraping. Tianming exerted all his strength to strike, leaving only a shallow punch mark on a large stone. After being strengthened by the system, the combat skills have been upgraded from intermediate level to advanced level. Essence can be extracted from plants and trees to form corrosive fighting spirit, which has a special effect of breaking defense. Bang! Tianming first stepped on the ground, and the flowers, plants, and trees within a radius of about 5 meters withered at a visible speed, drained of their life energy. Transformed into a dark yellow fighting spirit in his hand, his final palm struck heavily on a large stone. Shoo, shoo, shoo. I saw waves of white smoke rising from the hard surface of the stone, which was soon corroded into several inches of grooves. If this palm hits the human body directly, its attack power cannot be considered scraping, can it? At least one layer of skin must be scraped off from the opponent's body at the same level. This fighting technique is called Rotten Grass Palm. Xuanjie Advanced Fighting Skill. Rotten Grass Palm. The combat skills that have been strengthened by the system can be considered a brand new form of combat in a sense. The original grass and wood palm does not have corrosive effects. Rotten Grass Palm. Bang! Tianming's second palm directly corroded and penetrated the large stone in front of him. After mastering this move, you should have some confidence in the sect meeting a month later, right? Tianming showed a satisfied smile. 1 month later, Yunlan Sect will hold an annual sect competition, during which outstanding disciples will be selected from numerous external sects to become official disciples of Yunlan Sect. It is said that the person who wins the first place has a chance to be accepted as a disciple by the sect leader and become the next successor of Yunlan Sect. Division line. As the sect assembly approached, Yunlan Sect began to become lively. Today is an important sect meeting of our Yunlan Sect, and there will be forces from the Imperial capital and various regions coming to observe. If anyone dares to lose the face of Yunlan Sect in front of foreign guests, I will definitely not spare him lightly. Guyi sternly reprimanded a group of external disciples, and then skillfully arranged everyone's work. You. Responsible for moving this stone tablet to the square. You. Responsible for clearing the weeds on the mountain road. Who said that is you, chubby guy? Get out and wash the thatched cottage. Guyi danced and spattered with saliva, like a sharp and sarcastic contractor. The group of external disciples in front of him were laborers. In fact, it is true that before becoming an official disciple of Yunlan Sect, external disciples had to take on all the miscellaneous tasks, which was no different from manual labor. However, when it was Tianming's turn, Guyi's attitude suddenly became friendly. Tianming, please stay at the entrance of the sect and be responsible for registering guests. Everyone looked envious upon hearing this. Compared to the tiring and dirty work of moving and lifting, weeding halfway up the mountain, and washing the thatched cottage, Tianming's job of registering guests is obviously much easier. Yes, Mr. Gu. Tianming gladly accepted the arrangement. It's not in vain that he usually sends more medicinal herbs, filling his pockets with kudzu leaves. Finally, he received special care. It can only be said that the rules of human relationships and worldly wisdom are the same in any world. Wake up and try to look familiar in front of the VIPs. Maybe being favored by a big family means having a bright future ahead. Guyi patted his shoulder with great care. This is not a polite statement either. In his opinion, there is a high chance that Tianming will pass the assessment at today's sect meeting and become an official disciple of Yunlan Sect. If he is favored by a certain big family, it would be great to hire a son-in-law to come to his door. Guyi would think this way. It's not that he looks down on him. In the other person's eyes, Tianming comes from a beggar background and no one has any family background. Fortunately, he entered the Yunlan Sect. If he could join a certain family as a son-in-law in the future, it would already be a perfect ending in his life. Tianming possesses the thinking of an adult, naturally able to discern the implicit information in and out of the other person's words, and his mouth couldn't help but twitch. Hall of Passage, with the golden finger of the system, do you call me the son-in-law who comes to your door? Isn't this pure nonsense? In my heart, I secretly cursed that the pattern of this old wall lamp was small, and on the surface, I had to pretend to be educated. Thank you very much for Mr. Ge's guidance. A child can be taught. Ge stroked her long beard with a smile on her face. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The Mitre Family, Princess Yafei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter for the Mitre Family, Princess Yafei. At dawn, there were still several hours before the sect assembly, and it was still early. But at the foot of Yunlan Sect's mountain, the first wave of guests has already arrived. Yanqing Mahist School, come and pay your respects. A middle-aged man dressed in a long robe with a warm smile on his face, giving off the feeling of a gentle elder. The young man was dressed in white clothes, with a valuable jade pendant tied around his waist. He held a folding fan, paired with handsome facial features, and exuded the temperament of a graceful young master. Anyone would think that this is a person from a big family with excellent cultivation. Yanqing Mahist School. Tianming's eyes narrowed slightly. If he remembers correctly, this is a local aristocratic tribe in the eastern provinces of the Gama Empire, backed by the peripheral forces of the Yunlan Sect. He secretly studies the taboo secrets of organ transplantation and has the ambition to dominate the party. In the original novel, the Mahist School kidnapped Qingli in an attempt to take away her blue snake three-flower eyes, but was ultimately destroyed by Xiaoyan. This is my Mahist gift list. The young man is a talented and outstanding disciple of Yunlan Sect. Mo Lan handed over a small red gilded notebook, which was densely packed with high-value gift lists such as various gold, silver, jewelry, medicinal herbs, and magic cores. I don't dare to be taken for granted. I'm just an outsider disciple of Yunlan Sect. A hint of surprise appeared on Tianming's face, but he still made a polite response. Nice to meet you. Moli arched his hand casually, as if greeting. After a brief greeting, the two of them did not stay for too long and entered the Yunlan Sect. Father, although Yunlan Sect is a behemoth, you shouldn't be so polite to just an outsider, right? Moli asked in confusion. Lear, you don't understand that. As a father, I have a good relationship with Guyi, the external steward of Yunlan Sect. I am very clear about the personality of that old fox. That old guy entrusted the work of entertaining foreign guests to this little ghost, which must have some outstanding qualities. Perhaps in the upcoming sect competition, you also have a chance to get along. Mo Lan said meaningfully. It's just a little brat who hasn't dried up yet. If you come across me, he'll be unlucky. Moli looked disapproving. He came this time with the intention of becoming an official disciple of Yunlan Sect. If he could win the top spot in the sect competition and be recruited as a disciple by Yunyun, the power of the Mahist School would surely rise. Lion King City Yen Family, Storm City Fengjia, Frank's house in Blackrock, Vice President of the Alchemists Guild, Master Chamir. As time goes by, more and more guests are visiting. However, from the list of gifts, none of these families have surpassed the previous Mahists. It's not that these families are not as good as the Mo family, it's just that these forces have no subordinate relationship with the Yunlan Sect and only came out to save face for the Yunlan Sect. Emperor, the Mitre family. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing a luxurious dress with squinting eyes, and his 8-character beard exuded the cunning temperament of a businessman. However, what caught more attention was the young girl beside him, who was not about 15 or 16 years old, but her seductive figure had begun to show a charming posture. Under the red robe, revealing 2 slender legs as white as jade, almost caught the attention of all men along the way. The girl greeted passers-by warmly and generously, with a smile on her face. In just a few words, she aroused everyone's imagination and wished they could kneel under her pomegranate skirt on the spot. However, those who only paid attention to her beauty did not notice a hint of indifference and mockery in the girl's narrow peach blossom eyes. "Dear Lord Tingshan, welcome to Yunlan Sect." Tianming took the initiative to pay tribute. The other party is the head of one of the 3 major families in the Imperial capital, and must be given the highest reception in terms of etiquette. Furthermore, from a personal perspective, he is very interested in the auction house of the middle family and has plans for future collaborations. So take the initiative to come forward and look familiar. "Oh. Do you know me, little friend?" Tingshan squinted his eyes and a hint of surprise appeared on his face. Tingshan, one of the top 10 strong men of the Gamma Empire, is highly respected by the young man. Tianming has never seen Tingshan before, but with his powerful soul power, he can sense the terrifying aura on his opponent, so he can determine that he is Tingshan, the leader of the Mitre family. Interesting young man. Tingshan looked at Tianming's coarse linen clothes and saw that he was an external disciple of the Yunlan Sect. It's a bit intriguing that an outsider can actually recognize their identity. The clever concubine on the side also noticed this, and her rosy lips outlined a charming smile. She, who was sensitive to the gaze of others, noticed that the half-grown boy in front of her was one of the few men who did not hold any attention to her. "Cute little brother, can you tell my sister your name?" Tianming. The outer disciples of Yunlan Zong, who can be seen everywhere, are not worth the memory of the Miss Mitre family. Tianming is neither humble nor arrogant, and his attitude is also relatively casual. If he guessed correctly, the other party should be Princess Yafei, the Queen of Gold of the Mitre family. However, this is also a later event in the original novel. Early concubines, with mediocre cultivation and commercial acumen, had a stunning appearance. Tianming doesn't dislike beautiful women, but his hobbies tend to favor mature and beautiful older sisters. The teenage version of Yafei is almost unattractive to him. A strange color flashed in the peach blossom eyes of Princess Yafei. Feeling that her charm was being ignored not only didn't annoy her, but also sparked some interest in the young man in front of her. I saw her take a few steps in lotus steps and actively approach the young man. With a hint of fragrant breeze, she extended her green and white jade fingers and gently poked the latter's calm cheek. "Tianming, younger brother, sister remembers you. By the way, sister's name is Yafei, you should also remember it well." The body of Lady Yafei leaned forward slightly, and the bright red tight-fitting brocade robe outlined a seductive and curvy figure. Looking at each other up close, one can even smell the breath emanating from the other person. Yafei's feelings, how to put it, only felt a fresh scent of herbs and soil on the young man's body, and overall, she did not reject it. Tianming's rough feeling was that the girl was emitting a sweet and tempting fragrance, like an apple hanging on a tree with alternating green and red colors. It would take some time for it to mature. Oh. Clouds and clear skies make the heart like waves. I only feel amused in my heart. Girl, I want to seduce you, you're still 10 years old. Yafei pouted and a hint of displeasure inevitably appeared on her pretty face. After all, she is a blooming girl in her youth, her mind is not yet mature enough, and all her emotions are written on her face. From childhood to adulthood, she has always been a beautiful embryo in the eyes of others, and wherever she goes, she will attract the attention of men. At the moment when her charm failed, Princess Yafei encountered her for the first time, and she couldn't accept that she was actually a young boy who was even younger than her age. She really wanted to grab the other person and shout loudly, "Hey! Stinky little brother, are you blind? A beautiful girl so big standing in front of you, according to normal reactions, shouldn't you be blushing and nervous, unable to speak?" Tingshan didn't pay attention to the communication between the younger generations. He took the lead and entered Yunlan Sect, murmuring a few words to himself. How did this kid give me the feeling of facing an alchemist? It should just be an illusion, right? Tingshan thought for a moment but felt it was impossible. Regardless of whether the other party has the talent to become an alchemist or not, what kind of soul power does a 10-year-old kid have? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Fury of Wooden Battle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Fury of Wooden Battle. At the foot of Yunlanzong Mountain, the boy and the girl stared at each other with small eyes, as if they were engaged in some spiritual competition. "Miss Mitre, aren't you going up the mountain yet?" Tianming was the first to break the silence. "Call me Yafei Jie." Yafei raised her head and chest with her hands crossed over her waist, trying to put on a dignified posture of a senior. Tianming couldn't help but roll his eyes, thinking to himself that the little girl's film was childish. "Okay, Sister Yafei." Tianming's gaze strayed, reading with an emotionless stick. "You." Yafei's cheeks bulged with anger. "What is it?" This contemptuous attitude is clearly just a stinky little brother. Just as she was rolling up her sleeves, intending to continue the argument with Tianming to the end, suddenly a loud shout came from not far behind. "Yafei! Ha! My concubine and daughter. Law." Upon hearing this, Princess Yafei's face immediately changed. "Sister Yafei, it seems like someone is calling you." Tianming glanced at a young man with a flat head and a single shoulder cloak, who was walking towards him with steps that he didn't recognize as his own. Damn it! Why did this savage guy come too? Yafei Bei gritted her teeth tightly and stomped her feet in haste. "Sister Yafei, it seems that you are in trouble. Run quickly. My younger brother is here to stop him for you." Tianming spoke with righteous words. "This is a lie. With the beautiful appearance of Lady Yafei, who looks like a disaster, there must be crazy pursuers. Tianming considers himself a nobody and definitely doesn't want to cause trouble. To say this to Princess Yafei is purely to deceive the other party. He wouldn't really try to stop that seemingly ruthless young man with a flat head. Really?" Yafei gazed at him with a moved expression on her face. "Really?" Tianming nodded. "Tianming younger brother. Sister Yafei will remember you." Yafei turned around with tears in her eyes, and then, puff, I only felt a soft body bump against my back, accompanied by a pleasant fragrant breeze. "What?" Tianming looked bewildered. Tianming younger brother, it's really easy to deceive you by being an older sister, isn't it?" Yafei deliberately wrapped her hands around his neck, her smooth chin resting on his shoulder, and whispered a demonic little voice in his ear. Yafei is very aware of her own strength, and if she turns around and runs away, she will definitely not be able to run behind her pursuers. As for Tianming's claim to help her stop the other party, it sounds like a hero saving the beauty. A typical little girl would probably feel it, but Princess Yafei is not the kind of ignorant girl with a romantic mind. Especially when the other party claimed to be their younger brother, Yafei keenly recognized the hidden teasing taste. At that moment, the young man with a flat head finally arrived in front of them. Yafei's wife. Ah! I saw the other person's eyes wide open, anger charging towards their forehead, and their entire face turned green. Attention! This is not an exaggerated modifier, the other person's face is really green. Would attribute fighting spirit. Who is that? Tianming vaguely remembered a certain character in the original novel, who seemed to be a pursuer clinging to Princess Yafei. He couldn't recall the name for a moment. Mujan, what are you talking nonsense about? Who is your daughter? In law. Yafei's eyebrows and eyes were filled with evil spirits, and she also felt very angry. Muzhan. The Wooden family, one of the three major families in the imperial capital. Tianming now remembers. Yafei. Who is this stinky kid? Muzhan did not respond to Yafei's angry rebuke, but instead began to question loudly. This is my new brother, what's your business? In order to strike her opponent, Princess Yafei hugged Yun Tianming tightly with both hands and even deliberately leaned her body against the latter. It seemed that she was aware of her bold move, and a blush involuntarily surged on Yafei's fair cheeks. This scene made Muzhan even greener, his thick wrists clenching his fists and his veins bulging. Feeling the soft touch from his back, Yun Tianming couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Just kidding, this level of broad-mindedness is not enough to shake his will. Yun Tianming broke free from the shackles of concubinage without changing his color and said coldly. Please keep a distance, Miss Middle. We're not familiar. What? Yafei's beautiful eyes widened, her face filled with shame and anger. In her opinion, she was forced to rely on this stinky little brother in a hurry, and accidentally let the other party eat tofu. She got a discount and even acted obediently. What an unknowable stinky little brother. Woo-woo brother Tianming, are you playing with sister Yafei's emotions? Princess Yafei concealed her face and pretended to be sad, looking like a pitiful girl who had been abandoned from beginning to end. This acting skill is enough to beat a bunch of fresh meat. Yun Tianming's mouth twitched. No, right. No, right. No one really believes it, right? I saw Muzhan filled with indignation, with a pair of wild beast-like eyes, staring intently at Yun Tianming. Stinky kid, I dare to touch my young master's woman, you're trying to kill me. Master Mu, please calm down. Yun Tianming was about to explain something, but at this moment, Muzhan, who was on his head, couldn't hear any explanation and punched him directly. Bang! Raising his hand to block, Yun Tianming's figure stepped back a few steps. What a heavy fist! A bruise appeared on the wrist, but with the use of the wood attribute fighting energy in the body, the scar quickly disappeared. Are you also a wooden fighting spirit? This is really a coincidence. How dare you play with wood in front of my wooden house? Muzhan was momentarily taken aback before revealing a mocking sneer. Hey! Muzhan, are you crazy? How dare you take action on Yunlan Sect? Yafei saw that the development of the situation exceeded her expectations, and she immediately became anxious. She originally just wanted to refuse Muzhan's pursuit and prank Yun Tianming, this stinky younger brother. She never expected that Muzhan, who had a reckless personality, would just start fighting if he didn't agree. Humph, Princess Yafei, as I said, whoever dares to touch you will be deposed by me. Even people from Yunlan Sect can't do it. The Wooden Battle's domineering declaration flashed with a gleam in his eyes. Don't be fooled by his rough demeanor, he is actually quite meticulous. I noticed that the clothes on Yun Tianming's body are not the exclusive moon white robe of Yunlan, which means that he is only an outer disciple of Yunlan. Even if he beats him, Yunlan is unlikely to trouble the young master of the Mu family for being just an outer disciple. Thinking of this, Muzhan launched an attack without any hesitation. The green fighting spirit converged on the arm, and the muscles bulged and strengthened in a circle. Muzhan let out a loud shout. Lin Zhong Quan. Xuanjie intermediate fighting skill. Without using any killing moves, it seems that Muzhan still has some concerns about Yunlan and dare not use advanced combat skills to kill. Yun Tianming's eyes were cold, and he stepped on the ground, absorbing the energy of plants growing on the ground and gathering it in his palm to strike. Grass and wood palm. Xuanjie intermediate fighting skill. The fist and palm collided, causing their bodies to shake and each person to move backwards. Yun Tianming took 7 steps back, while Muzhan only took 3 steps back, indicating that Muzhan had a certain advantage. But Mu Zhan's face was very ugly. Because according to Mu Zhan's estimation, he should have won with one strike and knocked the opponent down on the ground. Surprisingly, an outsider disciple could have fought as well as him, which is a slap in the face of the young master of the Mu family. This guy, Mu Zhan, was already in a 6-dan fighting aura a year ago, and now he should be close to a 7-dan fighting aura. How could Tianming withstand the opponent's blow? Yafei bit her thumb and looked surprised. Among the 3 major families in the imperial capital, among the younger generation of the same age, Mu Zhan is considered to have exceptional talent. But I didn't expect Tianming to be just an outer disciple of the Yunlan Sect, who is even a circle younger than them, to have such strength. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Nalan Yanran. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Nalan Yanran, Dou Ji Chi Wu Duan. I underestimated you, you stinky kid. Mu Zhan's eyes narrowed as he quickly discovered Tianming's level of fighting spirit from the previous battle. To be honest, at this age, the other party's ability to reach the level of 5-dan fighting chi is already considered very good, and their talent is not much worse than their own. This just makes Mu Zhan very unhappy. Who is the young master of the Mu family, the 3 major families of his own imperial capital? Yunlan Sect is just an outer disciple, in other words, the lowest level of hard labor. Why do you dare to approach Princess Yafei on the same level as yourself? I am simply living impatiently. The 6 stages of Dou Qi are not good, and the body is full of Dou Qi. Within a month, you can be promoted to the 7th stage of Dou Qi. Tianming shook his slightly numb palm. There is still a significant difference in strength between 2 stages of fighting energy. Fortunately, through the strengthening of the system, his physical strength can rival that of a 6-dan battle, so he was able to collide with the wooden battle, but he was slightly inferior and did not lose. Oh, you're quite perceptive, kid. Mu Zhan raised his eyebrows and his face was full of pride. The Qi of Dou is the foundational stage of a practitioner's physical training, which requires gradual progress and cannot be achieved overnight. For each level of Qi of Dou that is improved, it can take several years of cultivation, ranging from 1 or 2 years to several years. Especially for the stage from the 6th Dan Dou Qi to the 7th Dan Dou Qi, it can be considered a small watershed, and it is normal for most people to stay here for several years. The Qi of the 1st to 3rd Dan Dou is low. Level, the Qi of the 4th to 6th Dan Dou is intermediate, and the Qi of the 7th to 9th Dan Dou is high level. Nowadays, Mu Zhan has reached the edge of the 7th Dan, and once he breaks through his fighting spirit, it will transform into a higher level, and the forging effect will also be qualitatively improved. Ha! Yafei's beautiful eyes flashed a strange color. Mu Zhan, who was proud of his own strength, did not notice that Tianming could see through his details at a glance, but the delicate and thoughtful Princess Yafei could see some clues. In his heart, he thought to himself. Is Tianming born with strong soul power? Although Yafei's strength is not strong, she comes from a business family in Mitre and has had contact with many alchemists, giving her a certain understanding of soul power. Soul is innate, and in terms of rarity, it is more precious than a genius in fighting spirit cultivation. Not to mention Tianming's fighting spirit cultivation talent itself is also good. That's interesting. As Mu Zhan looked at his madly admired concubine, his peach blossom beautiful eyes always fell on Tianming's body, and his heart suddenly became anxious and angry. Stinky kid, today my young master is going to depose you. Mu Zhan let out a loud shout and his figure leaped up, his fighting spirit concentrated on his fist, suddenly falling down. Whoosh! Tianming instinctively retreated and dodged. Bang! Mu Zhan's fist slammed heavily onto the ground, but a smile of success was outlined on his face. The entanglement of thorns. Xuanjie advanced fighting skills. Tianming felt a strange movement coming from the ground under his feet, and suddenly a large number of thorns and vines broke through the ground, first binding his legs, then rapidly growing and wrapping around his limbs. Muzhan! Stop it for me! Princess Yafei exclaimed in surprise and attempted to dissuade the other party. I'll say it again, whoever dares to touch you will be ruined by me. Muzhan took out a pair of T-shaped sticks from both sides of his waist. These are close combat weapons made of iron wood, which balance toughness and hardness. When knocked down, these sticks can break a person's bones. The T-shaped staff waving with both hands hunted for Xingfeng, and Muzhan fiercely knocked down Tianming's arms. Ah! As if she couldn't bear to see the tragic scene of Tianming's arm being broken, Princess Yafei instinctively closed her eyes and felt remorse in her heart. She was in trouble and shouldn't have approached the other person, causing them to suffer. However, the terrifying sound of the expected bone fracture was not heard, only a strange popping sound. Yafei carefully opened one eye. Rotten grass palm. The corrosive fighting spirit released from the palm of the hand. Suddenly, Tianming broke free from the vines on his body and calmly avoided the T-shaped stick attack of Muzhan on his side. What? Muzhan's attack, which he thought was a sure hit, failed and he suddenly fell forward with his face on the ground. Unexpectedly, in an instant, he broke the yellow-level advanced combat technique of the wooden battle, which means that what Tianming used was also the yellow-level advanced combat technique. Princess Yafei was greatly surprised by this. Xuanjie's advanced combat skills, although not something rare for a big family. When did Yunlan Sect become so generous and cultivate a yellow-level advanced fighting skill for external disciples? Pooh, pooh, pooh. Muzhan fell and spat out the dry grass in his mouth with a disheveled face. The damage was not significant, but it was very insulting. Damn little devil. I used to just break your limbs, but now you've angered me. Wait for death. Feeling embarrassed in front of his crush, Muzhan lost his sanity on impulse and exuded a strong green fighting spirit. A sharp wooden thorn grew from the front end of the T-shaped stick in his hand. Is this the Xuanjie fighting technique? Wooden battle, you're going to kill. Yafei's heart was startled and she felt extremely anxious. Helplessly, with only 4 levels of fighting energy, she could only stand aside and be anxious. Ha! Indeed, he is a barbarian. Tianming snorted coldly, but there was not much panic on his face. The opponent is indeed using the Xuanjie Do technique, but with the strength of the wood battle 6-section Do Qi, it is not enough to fully unleash the true power of the Xuanjie Do technique. Reluctantly using it now is just superficial. Tianming took a deep breath and calmly released his soul power, locking in the action of the wooden battle. Faced with the mysterious level combat skills of the wooden battle, he had no intention of confronting the opponent head-on. Instead, he used his soul power to perceive the opponent's attack actions and evade them. Go to hell. Greenwood Thorn. Xuanjie intermediate fighting skill. If this blow is hit, Tianming will be disabled even if he doesn't die. But no matter how strong the attack is, it's useless if it doesn't hit, isn't it? However, just as Tianming was about to retreat, he suddenly stopped and looked expressionlessly at the sharp wooden thorn piercing towards him in front of him. At the critical moment, a young girl's coquettish moan came from behind. Don't hurt anyone in Yunlan Sect. Qianfeng Gang. Xuanjie intermediate fighting skill. The blue whirlwind converged into a sharp nail and headed straight towards Muzhan, who was forced to adjust his greenwood thorn to collide with it. Bang! With a loud clash of fighting spirit, Muzhan's body trembled and was forced to retreat. Damn it, who dares to meddle in young Master Shogun's affairs? Muzhan instinctively cursed at the person who suddenly took action. The newcomer was a girl in a pink short skirt, tied in a pair of ponytails, with delicate features that resembled porcelain dolls. She was about the same age as Yun Tianming. Yun Tianming's soul power swept away, causing a slight movement in his heart. Is it her, the chi of the 6 sections of Dou? The surprised address from the concubine on the side just confirmed his speculation. Nalan Yanran. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Imperial Princess. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Imperial Princess, Nalan Yanran. How could you be here? When Mu Zhan saw the person who intervened, he was immediately taken aback. It was obvious that he also knew the other party. Miss Nalan, one of the 3 major families in the imperial capital. Mu Zhan, you are still as savage as ever. Nalan Yanran first glared at Mu Zhan, then nodded to Yafei as a greeting. Soon, she took the initiative to walk towards Yun Tianming and asked with a concerned expression, "Senior brother of the sect, are you okay?" "Thank you very much, Miss Nalan. I am just an outsider disciple of Yunlan Sect, Yun Tianming. Senior brother, I dare not accept this." Yun Tianming arched his hand as a gesture of gratitude, and with a slight thought in his heart, he understood the reason for Nalan Yanran's move. According to this time period, Nalan Yanran should be joining the Yunlan Sect soon, and her move is also to maintain the reputation of the sect. As a fellow disciple, Yanran certainly wouldn't stand idly by, but with senior brother Tianming's calm demeanor, it seems like I'm taking the extra step. Nalan Yanran looked up and down at the young man in front of her, dressed in coarse linen clothes and looking like an outsider, with a hint of curiosity on his face. Although the opponent only has a 5-dan fighting aura, they were able to fight against the 6-dan fighting aura in a short period of time without losing. He also forced Mu Zhan out of the Xian-level fighting skills. Nalan Yanran took action to defend her fellow disciples, but unexpectedly found that Yun Tianming still maintained a calm and composed expression on his face when facing Mu Zhan's murderous Xian-level fighting skills, as if there was some hidden behind him. I'm just too scared to move. Yun Tianming scratched his head and showed a simple smile. Ah. Nalan Yan blinked her eyes, seemingly not expecting the other party to answer like this, and her face suddenly felt a bit awkward. Did she take a wrong look? This guy is deceiving people again. The corners of Princess Yafei's mouth twitched, thinking to herself that although this stinky younger brother was not very old, he had a lot of ulterior motives. Hello. What kind of fellow martial brother? Just this stinky kid. Mu Zhan looked bewildered and his mind was not very clear. Mu Zhan, please pay attention. As a disciple of Yunlan Sect, I will never allow anyone to insult the sect. Nalan Yanran spoke with righteousness. Damn it. Nalan Yanran, when did you join Yunlan Sect? Mu Zhan cursed, and even though he was slow, he understood the latter's position. The 3 major families in the imperial capital have relatively independent positions, but their overall stance still leans towards the Gamma royal family. Nalan Yanran joining Yunlan Sect is not an ordinary signal. Do you have to take care of it? Nalan's eyebrows danced with pleasure, her smooth chin raised high, like a proud white swan. A month ago, she was practicing in a certain place and happened to meet the passing leader of Yunlan Sect, Yunyun. She wore a stunning palace dress and the blue fighting spirit behind her fluttered like a fairy. In Nalan Yanran's young soul, she planted a seed of immense admiration. Coincidentally, Yunyun also noticed Nalan Yanran and felt that she was young, hardworking, and had excellent talent. Her fighting spirit attribute matched her style, and her cute and pleasing appearance made Yunyun impulsive and tempted to recruit disciples. However, as the leader of the Yunlan Sect and a strong fighter against the emperor, she would not easily and hastily recruit disciples, so she set up a trial. Yunyun gave Nalan Yanran a token and asked her to come to Yunlan Sect to participate in the sect competition 1 month later. As long as Nalan Yanran passed the trial, Yunyun agreed to recruit her as her own disciple. For the Nalan family, the olive branch of Yunlan Sect is really abrupt. You should know that Nalan Jia is the Lion Heart Marshal of the Gamma Empire, and he still supports the royal family in his stance. But Nalan Yanran didn't want to do so much, and today she came to Yunlan Sect on her own. Because in her opinion, this is a great opportunity to break free from family constraints. According to the engagement made by her grandfather, Nalan Yanran will marry the third young master of the Shao family in Wutan City in the future. Nalan Yanran has an independent and strong personality. She does not want her life to be dominated and marries a stranger she has never met before. She has repeatedly raised objections to the family, but without exception, she has been unanimously rejected by the senior management of the family. Just because her betrothal partner Xiao Yan is a renowned super genius, she possessed the aura of 9 Dan Dou at the age of 10. As someone of her age, she only has a 6 Dan fighting spirit, and the difference in talent between the two sides is not even a drop in the sky. To be honest, if we exclude the influence of the family, Nalan Yanran's marriage to Xiao Yan is already considered a high climb. In this situation, Nalan Yanran proposed to terminate the engagement, which was seen by others as completely ungrateful. Nalan Yanran joined the Cloud Lanzong, on the one hand to worship Yunyun, who is a powerful fighter for the emperor, and on the other hand to break free from her engagement with the Shao family by becoming stronger. The basic rule followed by Duki continent is to respect the strong. As long as you are strong enough, you cannot break without rules. Cut it. Even if you're lucky this time, stinky kid. Next time I let the young master see you approach Princess Yafei, you'll break your leg. Mu Zhan stared at Tianming with a threatening expression on his face. He knew that with Nalan Yanran's platform and the need to uphold the righteousness of Yunlan Sect, he could not act recklessly against Yanran. Tianming ignored Mu Zhan's provocation, and his sole perception detected the arrival of another group of distinguished guests. A moment later, a luxurious carriage full of aristocratic atmosphere arrived at the foot of the mountain. In front of the carriage, 2 horses with snow-white hair and no impurities stood quietly. Above the golden brocade curtain around the carriage, a strange beast with blue flames rising all over was painted. The beast was not small in size, and its overall appearance was quite fierce, giving it a faint sense of awe. The emblem of the royal family. Everyone instinctively cast their gaze. As members of the 3 major families in the imperial capital, they were very clear about the emblem of the Gamma royal family. Amidst the car curtain, a snow-white and jade-like slender hand reached out, elegantly holding the handle of the car door. Then, 2 beautiful shadows emerged one after another, appearing in everyone's sight. Oh, so many acquaintances. Shouldn't they be welcoming us here, right? Wearing a purple dress with silver patterns, her exquisite appearance exudes an innate noble temperament. Her age doesn't look big, about the same as Tianming and Nalan Yanran. The other is a tall woman dressed in luxurious brocade attire, with cheeks that resemble those of the former, exuding a noble aura. But unlike the cunning and cute former, there is a hint of coldness in their demeanor. The age is similar to that of Mu Zhan and Yafei. I have seen Princess Yao Yi, Princess Yao Yu. Nalan Yanran, Mu Zhan, and Yafei immediately stepped forward to salute. Welcome to your Royal Highness's Royal Highness Princess. Tianming followed suit and deliberately lowered his posture to avoid attracting the attention of others. Free of charge, everyone is already acquaintances. Yafei, Mu Zhan, and Yanran. Yao Yi greeted with a smile on her face. What are the people from the 3 major families of the empire gathering together? Let me guess. Yao Yu's lively purple eyes flickered with a mischievous smile, indicating that she was not a quiet master. I saw her happily taking a few steps forward in her small leather shoes, passing by Yafei and others, and walking straight to Tianming, with a playful smile on her lips. Hello, what's your name? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Hello Yunyun, get married. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Hello Yunyun, get married. Princess Yaoyue's proactive greeting to Tianming caught the attention of others on site. Humph. This stinky guy has a good relationship with women. Mu Zhan raised his eyebrows, his tone clearly carrying a hint of sourness. Nalan Yan's eyes flickered, as if she suspected that Tianming had deliberately put on a simple and honest posture before, and was not trying to deceive her. Yafei, on the other hand, showed a thoughtful expression and secretly thought to herself, I see. It is said that Princess Yaoyue of the royal family has the talent to become an alchemist, and her soul power is naturally strong. It is estimated that she has noticed something. Yue, this child, a hint of curiosity flashed through Yao Ye's cold and beautiful gaze. She knows her sister's personality very well and won't be interested in a stranger for no reason. In the lower clouds of Tianming, I am just a disciple of the Yunlan Sect that can be seen everywhere. Tianming quietly regained his soul power. While he perceived the other person, he also slightly caught the latter's attention. However, his soul power should be above Yao Yu, so the other party should not be able to determine. I always feel like you're deceiving me. Yao Yu pursed her lips and stared at him with her hands crossed over her waist. Although she was not quite sure about Tianming's soul power, her intuition told her that he was not an ordinary person. Yao Yu's lively eyes twirled and suddenly thought of something. She smiled and said, Tianming, right. Since you are just an external disciple of Yunlan Sect, why don't you come to my princess's place and become a personal guard? How promising is it? This woman's thinking is really unconventional. Tianming's heart moved as he was really considering Princess Yaoyue's invitation. The personal guards of the royal princess hold a higher status than the outer disciples of the Yunlan Sect. Princess Yafei thought to herself, Princess Yaoyue has a pretty good eye for people. Tisk. Mu Zhan felt even more displeased in his heart. He didn't understand what this kid was good at, not only being able to approach Princess Ya, but also gaining the favor of the royal princess. Cough cough. Princess Yaoyue, is it not good to be digging for disciples of Yunlan Sect in Yunlan Sect? Nalan Yanran couldn't help but interject. What's not allowed? As far as just an outsider disciple is concerned, I don't think Yunlan Sect would care, would it? Yao Yu playfully blinked at Tianming. Moon, no nonsense. Yao Yi spoke up and interrupted her. As the eldest princess of the royal family, she, who is several years older, has a deeper understanding of the subtle relationship between the royal family and Yunlan Sect. Especially in the open and secret struggles between the two sides, the royal family did not have the upper hand, and the Yunlan Sect was actually a behemoth of the Gamma Empire. A small gesture is likely to convey the wrong message to the other party. A disciple from an external sect is not important, but if Yunlan Sect mistakenly believes that this is a provocation from the royal family, it is likely to cause even greater conflict between the two sides. Okay, sister. Yao Yu stuck out her tongue, but there was not much regret on her face. It is estimated that inviting Tianming was just a momentary gesture. It seems that I missed a good opportunity. Tianming pretended to look disappointed. But in my heart, I don't think so. In his opinion, in terms of power, Yunlan Sect is obviously stronger than the royal family, and he will gain greater cultivation resources by staying in Yunlan Sect. Moreover, the attitude shown by Yao Yu is just for the sake of playing and not truly optimistic about him, so there is no regret. Various forces from the Imperial capital, after a brief exchange, each entered the Yunlan Sect. Tianming's senior brother, Yanran, take a step forward and attend the sect's grand meeting. Nalan Yanran politely said a word, but before he could respond, she turned around and left. Tianming younger brother, sister is very optimistic about you. Princess Yafei affectionately patted his shoulder, showing sincere kindness on her face. She doesn't have the cultivation talent of Nalan Yanran or the soul power of Princess Yaoyue, but she still has confidence in her ability to recognize people. Thank you very much, Sister Yafei. Feeling the kindness from the other party, Tianming didn't want to deceive anymore and responded positively. Humph. Mu Zhan let out a cold snort heavily, and finally gave him a stern warning look, following the others to leave. Division line, guests from all sides gathered at Yunlan Sect, and the Grand Sect Assembly officially began. Tianming followed a large number of external disciples to the outermost part of the sect's team. Look! That's the legendary lord. So beautiful. Is this a fairy? Shut up. Ordinary people are not allowed to look directly at the Lord. Not only external disciples, but also formal disciples dressed in moon-white robes, all cast infinite admiration upon the peerless woman sitting on the throne. One of the top 10 powerhouses of the Gamma Empire, and also the youngest among them to fight against the Emperor. Indeed, it's a group of nameless dragons set background boards, losing their intelligence when they see beautiful women. Tianming had no waves in his heart. Thanks to the development of technology, women with high appearance can be mass-produced in their past lives. Gradually, he became aesthetically fatigued and no longer felt stunning at a glance. However, for the beautiful character described in the original book, Tianming still has a hint of curiosity and interest, hoping it won't be an internet celebrity looking up. My brain experienced a brief shutdown. I saw a woman sitting on the head of the sect leader, dressed in a moon-white long dress wrapped in a plump and delicate body, with a blue silk tied up into a noble phoenix hair accessory. Her beautiful and charming appearance was calm and peaceful, and she did not show any timidity due to the attention of thousands of disciples and various forces below. This is a strong confidence that emanates from the inside out. Confident, generous, gentle, beautiful, mature big sister, hello, get married. At this moment, Tianming also lost his intelligence, and his brain suddenly imagined the scene of marrying the other party. Holy crap! Tianming cursed inwardly for his shallowness, even though he was shaken by a woman's beauty. But she is really beautiful. Tianming tried to restrain himself, but in the end, he couldn't help but look up and once again turned his fiery gaze to Yunyun. What internet celebrity compared to her is a mediocre and vulgar fan? This is the perfect woman to satisfy all the fantasies in Tianming's heart. If it were a perfect goddess of this level in a past life, Tianming could only look up from afar and could not possibly approach. But it's different in the Duki continent. In a world where strength is paramount, anything is possible as long as you have strength. Tianming's heart, which had been silent for a long time, became scorching hot. He stared with a burning gaze at the towering and magnificent perfect woman. He can marry and wear it. Upon hearing this, the outer disciples around them cast unparalleled shocked gazes at Tianming. What kind of crazy thoughts is this? As long as you have the courage, the patriarch will take maternity leave. Fortunately, the sect assembly was noisy, and not many people heard Tianming's crazy speech. Otherwise, the angry crowd would definitely tear him apart. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The beginning of the sect assembly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The beginning of the sect assembly. Let's leave it to Elder Yunlan to preside over the sect assembly. Yunyun picked up a white jade teacup and took a sip on her lips. With a simple and elegant personality, she never liked complicated affairs and entrusted the management of the sect to the elder Yunlan. Yes, my lord. Yunlan arched his hand, and he, who enjoys competing for fame and profit, happened to enjoy hosting such grand occasions the most. Tianming looked at Yunyun with bright eyes, and secretly made up his mind. First, set a small goal to become an official disciple of Yunlan Sect, and then find a way to approach it in the future. No one on site would pay attention to his small external disciple, but unfortunately, Empress Dowager Yafei took a second look in the direction of Tianming, and noticed that the latter's gaze was blazing at Yunyun on the head seat. Her face involuntarily showed a strange expression. Tianming, ignored your sister's charm but showed respect to the leader of Yunlan Sect. TSK, this stinky little brother really has a lot of courage. As a woman, her charm was being compared, which made Yafei feel uncomfortable. However, after comparing her feelings with Yunyun's, she had to admit that the mature charm emanating from her partner was far incomparable to that of a young and inexperienced girl. Wait a minute, my sister will definitely become the super beauty of the famous empire when she grows up. By then, your stinky little brother will definitely bow down under your sister's pomegranate skirt. Yafei's pretty face tightened, she clenched her small fist, and raised it in the direction of Tianming from afar. Welcome all the guests from the Empire to Yunlan Sect and participate in our sect conference. I hope everyone can appreciate the best young generation of the Gamma Empire and showcase their talents. The leader of the conference was Yunlan, the elder of Yunlan Zone. He skillfully dealt with various forces, and his seemingly simple opening remarks implied a demonstration in his words. Hey, this old man talks a lot. Are you still the best young generation of the Gamma Empire? Is Yunlan Zone telling us that they want to take in the elite of the empire? Yao Yu pursed her lips. Yao Yi frowned and looked at the thousands of disciples of Yunlan Sect standing on the square. Compared to the soldiers and generals of the empire, it seemed to be even better. Yunlan Sect, you are indeed ambitious. Middletingshan squinted his eyes and touched his 8-character beard. Yafei was quick-witted and quickly guessed the concerns of the Tingshan clan chief. Mitre is a business family that maintains a balance of power among all parties, which is more conducive to their business expansion. A dominant Yunlanzong company can easily form a resource monopoly, thereby hindering Mitre's business flow. Nalan Yanran, can you tell me why you joined Yunlan Sect? Mu Zhan asked Nalan Yanran a question. This is my business, it has nothing to do with you. Nalan Yanran had a cold attitude and did not respond positively. Brother Su, have your Nalan family completely fallen in favor of Yunlan Sect? Mu Lai is Mu Zhan's father, and both of them are straightforward. They questioned Nalan Su, who was sitting next to them without any hesitation. Brother Lai's words are not accurate. This matter is purely initiated by a naughty girl and has nothing to do with the stance of my Nalan family. Nalan Su casually denied it. His father Nalan Jie was the Lion Heart Marshal of the empire and the military leader of the Gamma Empire, who was generally loyal to the royal family. Yafei's eyes flickered, and she thought to herself. The strong-willed Nalan Jie old man did not explicitly oppose his granddaughter joining the Yunlan Sect, which means that the Nalan family has a hidden style of wall riding. Of course, this is just her speculation, and in this situation, as a junior, she has no right to speak. Upon hearing the news, Mo Lan's face couldn't help but darken. The Nalan family has actually joined the Yunlan Sect, which is causing trouble. Lear, although Nalan Yanran is a few years younger than you, it is said that her fighting spirit has reached the 6th level. Perhaps she will become your strong rival, Lear. What a lovely girl. Moli seemed to have not heard his father's reminder, and his eyes were fixed on the charming and lovely girl standing behind Nalan Su. You child, have you been promiscuous again? Mo Lan chuckled and not scolded, but instead whispered encouragement from the side, Lear, if you can take that Nalan Yanran, the family will fully support you. I will, father. Such a lovely girl, only I deserve it. Morley clenched his fist, confident in his elegant appearance. He won over the young and ignorant girl, wasn't this something he could easily do? Division line, above all, I declare the official start of the sect competition. Yunlan gave a speech that lasted for an hour and was full of showing off his strength. Under the gaze of everyone, he finally announced the start of the sect assembly. There are multiple competition platforms on the square of Yunlanzong, and the preliminary rounds can be held simultaneously. Finally started. I must achieve good results and have the opportunity to receive the attention of elders and even the sect leader. The formal disciples dressed in moonlight robes are all grinding their fists and preparing to show off their skills. Various forces in the audience have also cast their attention. From the competition among the younger generation, we can roughly analyze the future development trend of Yunlan Sect. The outer disciples of Tianming were assigned to the edge of the battle platform. There is no other way. External disciples with weak average strength may not have much ornamental value in comparison, so they will naturally be ignored by everyone. Ding Zhu, Tianming treats Chen Xian. Tianming arrived at the arena and his opponent was a young girl who was a few years older than him. She had straight facial features and looked very attractive. Junior brother Yun, please give me more guidance. Chen Xian has a tall figure and a smile on her face when speaking, looking very approachable. Senior sister Chen, please teach me. Tianming remained expressionless and did not feel any emotional turmoil due to the other person's appearance. Hurry up and start. The referee impatiently urged on the side, saying that there were many disciples from outside, and there were still many people to fight. Whoosh! Tianming's first move is the strongest, quickly charging up is to punch the opponent's face. Ah! Chen Xian was startled, as if not expecting someone to directly hit her beautiful face. It hurt so much. Chen Xian reluctantly raised her hand to block it, and her fair wrist was immediately bruised, causing tears to appear in her eyes. Bei's teeth clenched on her cherry lips and she said, Junior brother Yun, how could you be so affectionate and precious? Senior sister Chen's words are too naive. Duki continent emphasizes the laws of the jungle, and kindness towards the enemy is cruelty to oneself. Tianming's attack was fierce, and his punches quickly hit the delicate girl in front of him, causing her to have bruises and swollen faces. Junior brother Yun, I'm going to use a move. You must be careful. Chen Xian was beaten back and forth, and finally couldn't help but release the energy of the 4-dan fight with all his might. Tianming's face was speechless, thinking to himself, is this woman having a brain pit? What do you mean to be careful when you use your moves? It's just a passing family, right? Chen Xian raised a finger and absorbed the moisture in the air, condensing a light blue fighting spirit. Water droplet finger. Yellow level low. Level fighting skills. From the first floor of the Duji Pavilion of Yunlan Sect, you can see a variety of popular goods everywhere. This is also the fighting skill that most external disciples practice. Alright, senior sister Chen, you can leave now. Tianming couldn't bear to look directly at this, and he didn't want the other party to be beaten more. Let's just strike it out. Grass and wood palm. Xuanjie intermediate fighting skill. A battle without any suspense quickly came to an end. Woo brother Yun, are you too ruthless in your actions? Chen Xian covered his fractured finger and looked pitifully at Tianming with tearful eyes, as if accusing him of his cruelty. Bang! Tianming didn't hesitate at all, he went up and kicked Chen Xian completely off the platform. Ding Zhu, Tianming is advancing. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Tianming senior brother, come on. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Tianming senior brother, come on. The qi of Wudan Dou belongs to the ceiling among peers, and with Tianming's strengthened body, it can rival the physical strength of the qi of Ludan Dou. Stood out easily among a group of external disciples. Ding group, Tianming wins. Win another game and you will become the official disciple of Yunlan Sect. The referee's unchanging face finally showed a hint of smile. Not bad. It seems that this kid is also diligent in cultivating besides taking care of the medicine field in his daily life. In the audience, Gui gave a positive evaluation. Among the many external disciples under his management, Tianming is undoubtedly the most outstanding one. Stinky little brother, did you do well? Yafei cast an appreciative gaze. She, who had a mediocre talent for cultivation since childhood, now only has a 4-dan fighting aura, so she particularly admires geniuses. Humph. This kid is just lucky. Mujan felt extremely depressed about Yafei's attention to other men. Don't be careless, Ah Jean. This person is young and has a solid cultivation of Doji Qi. Even if you don't use the Xuanjie Do technique, it's not easy to defeat him. Mu Lai pointed out the strong and resilient characteristics of Yun Tianming's physique. Mu Zhan opened his mouth, but he couldn't help but think of his brief sparring with Yun Tianming not long ago. He was even forced to use the Xuanjie fighting technique. Yun Tianming has 2 sons, and he is qualified to be my princess's guard. Yao Yu said with great interest. Only external disciples possess such talent. No, according to the current trend, there is a high probability that he will become an official disciple of Yunlan Sect. Unfortunately, such talents cannot be owned by our royal family. Yao Yi said with a hint of regret. After becoming an official disciple of Yunlan Sect, Yun Tianming's future is definitely higher than that of the royal guards. The quality of this generation of young disciples is very good. Look at that kid from the Ding group, he's practicing his basic skills very solidly. Yun Tianming's performance slightly caught the attention of Elder Yunlan Sect, but of course, it was just a little. Yunyun's indifferent gaze scanned the disciples below, and the current preliminary competition of the competition was not enough to attract her attention. The only thing that made her care a little bit was the girl from the Nalan family whom she met a month ago. Group A, Nalan Yanran 1. Congratulations on becoming the official disciple of Yunlan Sect. Elder Yundu expressed sincere admiration. On the one hand, it is to admire Nalan Yanran's outstanding talent, and on the other hand, her identity is that of the Nalan family lady, one of the 3 major families in the imperial capital. As long as the latter is recruited into the Yunlan Sect, it can win over the Nalan family of the imperial military power. This can be said to be a win-win situation. Thank you very much, Elder Yun, for your praise. Nalan Yanran politely bowed and then turned her admiring gaze to Yunyun on the front seat. This child really did it. Yunyun's eyes lit up with a pleased smile. She promised Nalan Yanran that as long as the other party could pass the trial of the sect assembly, she would consider recruiting the latter as her own disciple. At this moment, Yunling on the side interrupted Yunyun's thoughts. Master, have you noticed the boy from Group B? Group B? Who is that? Yunyun's gaze swept over her, but she didn't even notice. I saw that he was a young man who looked elegant and well-dressed. Yunling immediately explained, this son's name is Moli and he came from the Mahist school in the northeastern province of the Gama Empire. Mahist school. Yunyun raised her eyebrows. The Mahist school is a peripheral force that actively attaches itself to the Yunlan sect, offering a large amount of money and resources to the sect every year. According to the information she has learned, this Mo family is the local leader in the northeast province, with a very domineering style of behavior. Mo Cheng, the elder of the Mo family, once bloodily washed 2 families overnight, so he was feared by the locals and called the executioner Mo. There are even rumors that Mahists are secretly studying sensational human experiments. Therefore, Yunyun has always had a bad impression of the Mahist school. Yes, the Mahist school has always been extremely respectful to our Yunlan sect. This time I came to attend the sect assembly, I received the most gift lists. In recognition of my years of contribution to the Mahist school, I hope the sect leader can take good care of his disciples. Yunling has secretly received a lot of money from the Mahist school, and of course, he will help the other party say good things. Yunyun's eyes flickered as she recognized Yunling's suggestion, nothing more than wanting her to accept Mo Li as her disciple. It is human nature to have the sect take care of 1 or 2 things. But if you want to be my disciple, you're not qualified enough. Yunyun's resolute answer. Yunling's expression froze for a moment, as if she didn't expect Yunyun's attitude to be so tough. She then tentatively asked, do you already have a disciple candidate in your mind, Lord? Yunyun did not respond, but her gaze fixed on Nalan Yanran, and her attitude was self-evident. This Yunling furrowed his brows, and despite receiving money from the Mo family, he still insisted on speaking. Once again, Mo Li is qualified to become an official disciple of our Yunlan Sect. If he can win the top spot, I hope the Lord can give an explanation. Division line, in the next match, Mo Li from Group B will face Tianming from Group D. The final referee is Du. He glanced at Mo Li and then at Tianming, and he already had the answer in his heart. Tianming walked silently onto the platform of the battle. Ha! It's actually him. Having obtained the official disciple status of Yunlan Sect, Nalan Yanran stood below and watched the battle up close. She looked at Tianming in surprise, the outer disciple she had just seen. Calling him senior brother was purely out of courtesy, but in fact, Nalan Yanran did not take Tianming to heart. Unexpectedly, the other party advanced all the way, only one last match away from becoming an official disciple of Yunlan Sect. Nalan junior sister, do you still remember me? We had a chance encounter on our way up. Mo Li ignored Tianming's opponent and instead spoke to Nalan Yanran below. Sorry, I don't remember. Nalan Yanran answered truthfully. Who is this guy? Just call out to junior sister, haven't you become an official disciple of Yunlan Sect yet? Cough cough. Mo Li's expression froze, but soon returned to normal, maintaining a graceful smile. It's okay, we'll get to know each other soon. After this fight, we'll be fellow disciples, he said, let's wait until you win. Nalan rolled her eyes, she didn't like this frivolous young master the most. Although she didn't have a deep impression of Tianming, if she were to choose between the two, she still found the latter more pleasing to the eye. I saw her hands clasped in front of her mouth, shouting loudly, Senior brother Tianming, come on. End of this chapter.